We are joined on the phone now by the sensei of the Amarillo Globe News. It is Lance Lahnert. Hi, Lance.
Wow, that's a new one. I love that.
There you go.
I think I'm more the Karate Kid, though. You know, just trying to survive, right?
You're the one.
Rather than the actual sensei, yeah.
You're the one waxing on, waxing off, as opposed to.
Yes. I'm doing the hard. Yeah, I'm doing the labor. Okay.
Got it. Well, how are things in beautiful Amarillo?
Hey, it's a gorgeous day, actually. You know, it blows up here, like you guys know, like crazy, windy. But it is. Fall's our best time of the year. We love it.
It is beautiful up there this time of year. I want to start by talking to you about Amarillo, a team that I think has found a way, despite having a ton of pedigree and a great coach and a good defense, they have found a way to fly under the statewide radar. When you watch this Sandies team, do you feel like maybe they're not getting the love across the state that they deserve?
Yeah, I think that's very true. Our tradition, obviously, we usually stub our toe in the third or second round of the playoffs when we hit the Metroplex teams. And so I think since that happens quite often, that they kind of just there they are sitting 8-1 again. There they are 7-0, against Tascosa, big game. So I do think the tradition of it we have is a different view than you guys have for the entire state. So I really don't disrespect what people think about them, but definitely they are under the radar. Incredible defense this year. And then it's old school, man. It's running. Tascosa Amarillo High last Friday night. When's the last time you saw this in a 6A game? 25 state runs to open the game, and that first quarter lasted 17 minutes off the clock.
Oh man! So you, as somebody who I'm sure was on deadline, were like, yes, more of this, more of this.
Amen, man. We're just like, yeah, this is awesome.
If you like a cushy deadline, move to Amarillo.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, Amarillo.
I love that thought there. You and I can only relate to that when we're writers can relate to that. Like, oh, this is a great deadline game, man.
Listen.
Or this deadline stinks.
That is, listen, as fun as it is to go out there and cover those teams that throw it all over the park and score 60 points a game, at the same time, when you've got a game that starts at 7:30 and wraps up by 9:30, and halftime runs a little bit long in that, you're feeling pretty good.
You're in heaven, man. You know what I mean? And even though you think a 14-7 game is boring, it was really pretty entertaining.
Of course, Amarillo looking to wrap up a district championship this week as they travel to take on Wolford Friendship. On the road, these district games are very dicey, but from the outset, obviously 5 days in advance, but how do you break down this game?
Yeah, Friendship is deceiving because they've had a massive amount of injuries, and Tascosa beat them up pretty good a couple of weeks ago where they lost their star linebacker, Harrison, I think his last name is, and it's really, Hayden, he's really a tough matchup for Amarillo High because they're coming off the emotional win over Tascosa. We had 12,000, 10,000 in there. That's a great game for a high school kid. Oh, yeah. You kidding me? So the next week is a big week, really. And so it's going to be a challenge, but let me tell you something. It is such a unique offense to defend. Linebackers love it. Like one of the Tascosa linebackers, Cervantes, had 25 tackles in that game. They love it, but it punishes you to prepare for it because you can't duplicate it on the scout teams, even close. So I think they have the advantage in that way whenever they go on the road.
We're talking with Lance Lahnert of the Amarillo Globe News here on DCTF Live. Get involved with the conversation, #DCTF Live. Of course, one of the other teams that you have some experience with would be the Canadian Wildcats up there.
Oh, my gosh.
The very tip-top of Texas. Canadians seems like they're pretty good these days. As a guy who's covered them for a number of years, last year obviously was a special year for Canadian. Is this team even better?
Defensively, you nailed it. They are better, in my opinion, because they are so fast to the ball for that level that it's just amazing to watch them dominate a game. Because 2 weeks ago, remember, we had the big Stratford matchup, number 8 versus number 1. And Stratford is dadgum good, okay? For a 1A team, they really are. And it wasn't close. They fly to the ball. And when they're able to devastate you on defense like that, 3 and out after 3 and out, their offense is so good that the possessions they turn into. Bottom line is couple quick numbers for you guys. We've outscored their opponents 427 to 53. 32 regular season wins in a row, 24 wins in a row. And take their receiver last week, Cameron Copley, halftime against Boys Ranch. 6 catches, 132 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and returned one of those for a touchdown.
Jeez.
That's the kind of talent and domination they have because, trust me, Coach Ketting is a class act, and he calls off the dogs at half many a time. So even though the scores are lopsided, those are pretty much three-quarter scores. But it's the best team I've seen. I'll go out on record and say it right now. Best small school team I've ever seen, in the Texas Panhandle. And that's 33 years. I'm an old fart, okay?
That's high.
With the gray hair, like, who's this guy still covering us? But I love it.
That's high praise coming from you. But I'll tell you, what I think sets Canadian apart, and what I've said on this show and on Fox Sports Southwest, that I think Canadian's the best pound-for-pound team in Texas. And I think that what it is that they've also had to run through a gauntlet of a district. That district is really talented, really from top to bottom.
That's such a great point, because look at it. You got Wellington in that district. You have Stratford in that district. You have Canadian. Those are state championship teams within the last 15 years. Great programs. 2 of them within the last 3 years. So that's the kind of district. And then they took on Albany, one of the teams up here. They agreed to drop the game, and they take on Albany. You know what I mean? And on a neutral site. Who does that in the middle of the year? And so you're right. The gauntlet has made them so much better. And then they run one of the fastest offenses, play for play, you have ever seen. When you're a sports writer up there trying to chart it, you're like, I hate you guys. Because your head's down. What just happened on that play? You look like an idiot to the guy next to you. And you're like, what just happened? But no, they really run it fast, because I told you guys this on the honor of being on the Fox show on Friday nights, but I covered Stratford Canadian on Friday night, and then went down and did TCU and Tech on Saturday, and it was faster, play for play, was the Canadian Wildcats.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of team you're looking at. Yeah.
They like to get up. They like to get out and run. And, of course, you're talking to two sports writers here, so we know very well the phrase, hey, did anybody get a number on that?
Yeah.
Anybody get a number on that? Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
So,
was that a pass? Was that a run? Yeah.
We're talking with Lance Lahnert of the Amarillo Globe News here on DCTF Live. One last question before we let you go and get on with your business. If there's a team out there in the Panhandle that we haven't talked about, or out there in your neck of the woods that we haven't talked about, that deserves a little bit of statewide love, who do you think it is?
Hey, I think it's the Spearman Lynx, okay? They ran the table last year, regular season table, at 10-0. This year, they're 9-0, and they play Idalou, who's also undefeated, in a showdown game in District 1-3A Division 2, Friday night for the title. But you just don't get much love on those guys. And Coach Rodman does such a wonderful job up there. But think about that. That's 19 regular season wins in a row. And has anybody said a word about them? Probably not.
Yeah.
So I would say the Spearman Lynx. Hey, and real quick, guys, I just want to give you one quick heads up. 1-4A Division 2 up here. All 5 teams in that district could tie at 2-2 at the end of Friday night.
I read a tweet about that. It's the Dalhart district, right?
Yes. And if Dalhart could win the district title with a win, and if they lose by like 5 or more, they could be out of the playoffs. That's how crazy that little district is. So, yes.
Well, we will rely exclusively on you to figure that out, because that hurts my brain just hearing it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we're correct. Even the coaches didn't know quite the tiebreaker system. You know what I mean? So it was hilarious on Saturday.
Just win. That's all they care about. Let's just go win this one.
Yeah.
He is Lance Lahnert of the Amarillo Globe News. Follow him on Twitter at Lance Lahnert, Lahnert. As the back half. You should be able to spell Lance, I'll tell you that much. Lance,
that's good.
We appreciate you, buddy, and I bet we'll be talking on Friday.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. It's really a joy to be on, and, we appreciate the love for the Panhandle up here.
Hey, man.
We know what it is, but we still love our Texas high school football up here, too.
Hey, it's pretty good football up there. We'll talk to you in a bit, bud.
Thanks.